Hey YouTube, so there's a clip of this Dusty going around. He's basically saying that single mothers are the worst parents because 70% of males who are in prison were raised in single mother households. Now, I don't know who this Dusty is. I don't follow Dusties on social media. However, this video did come across my For You page because it was stitched by the gentleman that you see here. Now, he was actually refuting the false statistics that were listed in the video, but here's my opinion. Something that I notice about these Dusties is that not only do they have the audacity, but they are also allergic to accountability. Okay. Now, I'm not going to refute that there are a lot of bad single mothers out there. I'm not going to refute that. I know firsthand that there are a lot of bad single mothers, and I might touch on that later on in the video. But as bad as these single mothers are, if these single mothers were not here, you know how he's saying, if you're raised in a single mother household, the boy is going to go to jail. Well, if the single mother wasn't there, the child would be dead. Okay. Because guess what? As bad as that single mother was, the dad didn't even care to stay and feed his kid. The dad didn't care to stay and keep a roof over his kid's head. The dad didn't care to stay to put clothes on his kid's back. The dad didn't care to stay to take his kids to the doctor or to enroll his kid in school or to do anything for his child. The dad didn't care to stay to give his child the basic necessities they need to survive. Okay? These dads basically abandon their children, leave them for dead. Because these niggas don't know what's going on with their kids or if their kid is safe or if their kids are fed. They don't care, because if they cared, they would have stayed in their child's life. So he wants to say that single mothers are to blame for how these males grow up to be fucking criminals. But if it were up to the fathers, these kids would be fucking dead. I mean, a lot of these dudes want these women to get abortions before the baby is even born in the first place. So they already don't even want these kids to even be born. But once the kid is born, then they just completely abandon it. So don't get me wrong. There are a lot of bad single mothers, but where is the accountability for these dads that fucking left? That's just something that they just can't comprehend. You know what I mean? Like, if your single mom traumatized you, if she abused you, if she brought, dangerous people around you, yes, she is wrong for doing that. And yes, she needs to be held accountable. But where is the accountability for the father that didn't give a fuck about you, left you for dead, didn't give a fuck if you ate, didn't give a fuck if you had a roof over your head, didn't care if you went to school or if you went to the doctor, didn't invest in your education, didn't invest in your future? Your dad left you for dead. Your dad left you for dead. Where is the accountability? And here's another thing that the Dusties never talk about. Y'all always talking about how the males end up in jail. But guess who also grows up in that same single mother household? The daughters. The daughters who grew up to get degrees. The daughters who grew up to have careers and own businesses. These daughters, these women who y'all are basically criticizing now, these same Dusties, the same Dusties who say shit like this are the same ones who are criticizing women for having degrees, for buying homes by themselves, for owning businesses. These are for being too independent. These Dusties who grew up to go to jail were raised in the same household as the women who grew up to get degrees and own businesses and have careers. So at some point, Dusty, you have to take accountability for the choices that you make in life. For instance, I wasn't raised by a single mother, technically. There was a male in our home. However, my mom might as well have been single, okay? Because the Dusty in our home, he was unemployed. He didn't pay for shit. He didn't have any money. He was unemployed. He was a broke Dusty, okay? He didn't work. He didn't pay bills. He didn't provide. He didn't protect us. Not only that, but he abused us. He abused everybody in the house. He ate up our food. He stayed and slept in as late as he wanted to while we were at school and while my mom was at work providing for everybody in the household. So no, she wasn't technically a single mother, but just like so many women, even if you do have a nigga in the house or a man in the house, you could still very much still live like a single mother. And it may even be worse. Sometimes it's worse to have a nigga in the house, because even though growing up in a single mother household isn't easy and it can be very hard sometimes, having a man in your house can make it a lot worse. And in my situation, life would have been better if the nigga wasn't there. So I'm coming from a place of, yes, my mom wasn't technically a single mother, but she might as well have been a single mother. And my mom was toxic. She was abusive. She made my life a living hell along with the man that she was with. So I'm not going to sit here and deny how toxic a lot of these present parents are. And a lot of the times, the present parent is the mother. And I'm here to tell the single mothers that it's not enough to be the parent that stayed. It's not enough to stay. Okay, that nigga leaving you and abandoning you and your kids does not give you the excuse to abuse your children, to neglect your children, to bring dangerous men and other people around your children, to just leave your kid with anyone at any time. You being a single mother and you being the parent that stayed doesn't give you the green light to be a shitty parent. You're supposed to do the best that you can do. And if your best isn't good enough, you need to do even better than that. Okay? So I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, single mothers are good and they did the best they can. And that, no. I understand the trauma that a lot of these single mothers are putting onto their children, because I am one of them. However, there has to come a point where you take accountability for your own life. Okay? I had to take accountability for my own life. And that's what a lot of these girls are doing who grew up in the same single parent household as these degenerate, dusty, incompetent males. We were raised in the same home with the same mother. However, you grew up to go to jail and I grew up to get a degree and to have a career. So at some point, you have to take accountability for the choices that you decided to make, okay? Because you can't keep blaming mommy for the rest of your life for how fucked up your life turned out. Yes, there is trauma, there's depression, there's anxiety, there's anger, there's resentment, but that's why you go get some fucking help to heal. And I'm not saying go run to a Dusty podcast, don't go do drugs. Don't go hang out with the wrong crowd. Go get some professional help by the right people, by the right person, so that you can heal and move on with your fucking life. Growing up with a single mother or a toxic parent, period, can have lifelong effects on you, but you still have to take control over the actions that you decide to make. Okay? So at the end of the day, even if you did have a shitty ass parent, once you become an adult, you have to make the decisions for your life. It's up to you from there. You had no control over your mom abusing you. You had no control over your mom neglecting you. You had no control over your mom bringing dangerous men and other adults around you. You had no control over your mom leaving you somewhere with dangerous people while she went out and did whatever she did. You had no control over that. But once you became an adult, it was up to you from there. And the difference between these males and these women is that the males make the choice to stay in that degeneracy. The women choose to stay in school, get degrees, start businesses, have careers, and do the right thing. But the males choose to run the streets and get into all this criminal activity. And then when they go to jail, oh, it's mommy's fault. It's mommy's fault for being a single mother. Really? That's the difference. And that's why I said in one of my previous videos, women, if you are not secure in your own right to take care of a child the best way that you should, do not have kids, okay? There is no guarantee that you are going to have a second primary parent to help you with this child. Whether you're married, whether you're in a healthy relationship, whether that person has all the green flags, there is always a chance that some way, somehow, you will end up a single mother. That's why you have to be secure in your own right before you have a baby. You cannot put your dependency on someone else. Yes, it's a man's job to provide. Yes, it's a man's job to lead. However, a lot of these men cannot be trusted. A lot of these men cannot be consistent. A lot of these men cannot do what they're supposed to do. And I'm not going to say they cannot. I'm saying they will not. So you have to make a decision for yourself if that risk is worth it. I say don't have kids if you cannot be a single mother the way you should be. If you're not financially stable in your own right, if you're not emotionally stable in your own right, if you don't have your own safety net to fall back on, if you don't have the village that you'll need to help you with that child, do not have kids. No matter how so-called nice the man is, I don't care if you're married, I don't care if you're in a so-called healthy relationship, that nigga can switch up on you at any time. And I've heard it and I've seen it for myself. The dudes will beg you to keep the baby just to keep the baby with you. The dudes will ask you to have the baby. The dudes will get you pregnant on purpose just to sabotage you. Just to sabotage you. So if you're a woman who wants a child, don't have that kid unless you are secure in your own right, just in case you become a single mother. And that's just how I feel about that. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the situation is, 99.99% of the responsibility of that child is always going to fall on the woman. Always. It's very, very rare that a man is going to do just as much as the woman when it comes to the child rearing. You got to get pregnant with the baby and grow the baby in your womb. You got to give birth to the baby. You got to breastfeed the baby. You're going to be the nurturer. You're going to be the teacher. You're going to be the disciplinarian. You're going to be who they go to when they're in trouble, when they need help, when they need guidance. Majority of that is going to fall on you, whether there is a male in the house or not. And that's just facts. And you have to ask yourself if it's worth it and are you capable of providing it? Because a lot of you single mothers, you're stressed out, you're overworked, you're poor, you're sad, you're traumatized, you're abused, and you're taking that out on your children. You're putting your children in dangerous situations. You're abusing your children. You're neglecting your children. And you think because of the trauma that you've been through, and you think because you're the parent that stayed, that gives you a right to be a shitty parent. It doesn't. Do not have kids if you cannot be a good parent in your own right. Do not sit here and think that a nigga or a male is going to do what he's supposed to by you and by that child, because 9 times out of 10, they're not, even if they stay in the home. And it's not just me who had that experience of a male being in the home and life being worse than what it would have been. There's a lot of people with fathers in the home who wish the father wasn't there. Okay, let's be real. A male in the home is not going to guarantee any protection or peace or security or anything. A lot of times the male being in the home makes life worse. But again, my whole point of the video was that even if the single mother was a bad mother, the parent that left is worse, because they didn't care enough to feed that kid or to give that kid its basic necessities to survive. And if you niggas love your kids so much and y'all want to be fathers so much, take the woman to court and get full custody. But y'all don't do that because y'all don't want full custody, because y'all don't want the full responsibility of taking care of these kids, of feeding them, clothing them, providing them shelter, making sure they go to the doctor, making sure they're enrolled in school, birthday parties, appointments, field trips, saving up for college. You niggas don't want that responsibility. Y'all want to get the kid every other day and do the easy stuff, but you don't want to do what the mom does. That's the real reason why y'all don't seek full custody. Y'all always got an excuse. Oh, the system is only for, bitch, you didn't even try. You didn't even try to go to the court. And a lot of y'all can't even go to court because y'all niggas got warrants. I know it's some bullshit. You niggas don't want your kids full time. You don't want full custody. You want to do the easy part of parenting, aka just being a babysitter, while the woman does 99% of everything else. So quit acting like life would have been better with a dusty ass father in the picture, because it would have actually been worse. Because like I said, these niggas don't even care to feed the kids, put clothes on the kids' back, put a house over, put a roof over the kid's head. You just left your kid for dead. And the single mother, she may not have been a good mother, but she didn't leave her kid for dead. She fed her kid, and listen, that's the bare minimum. That's what she's supposed to do. And I'm not saying that that makes her a good mother. I'm just saying that makes her just a little bit better than the parent that left the baby. That's all I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I don't have these problems. I've decided a long time ago that I'm not going to deal with none of these Dusties. I'm damn sure not going to sleep with any of them or have any of their kids. Ladies, choose better. And I know some of y'all get triggered when people say that, but that is truly something I say for you to protect yourself. You have to choose better. Make better choices and think about your future. You have to come first in your life. Your health, your happiness, your security, your safety. You have to choose better for you. Anyway, I'm done.